Hello everybody, this is Opay from Fab Trips, and I'm here today just to unpack again about or maybe rant about the Phase 2A of the Framework for Conditional Sailing Order that was released by the CDC April 2nd. I've had time to really go through this to just read through it again and try to understand what the CDC is trying to do. And I've heard a lot of vloggers, a lot of travel experts have raved, have ranted, they've expressed their disappointed, many their anger, a lot of vitriol towards the CDC because they believe that the framework Phase 2A was really a step back from where people thought we would be. And I think it is a step back in some ways. In actual fact, it's as if the CDC had worked on all this way back in December, and after their meeting with the Miami-Dade mayor, decided to insert just some crumbs there about vaccination and then release it. So it's a step back. So of course, everybody, all the vloggers ranted, they raved, and quite frankly, I wasn't really concerned, or I really didn't care about what they had to say. I was more concerned about what the cruise lines had to say about the Phase 2A of the Framework for Conditional Sail Order. And today, Richard Fain released a video essentially completely ignoring what the CDC said. Now, I had to listen to his message again, and I had to look at the date to figure out, did he record this before the framework was released? But if he recorded it before the framework was released, surely Royal Caribbean will not release it today. And by the way, Richard Fain is the chairman CEO of the Royal Caribbean Group. And so his response today was a little bit interesting because, like I said, he completely ignored everything that the CDC released in Phase 2A. In fact, he did reiterate that the Framework for Conditional Sail Order was outdated. And so anything working within that framework, I guess as far as Richard Fain and the Royal Caribbean Group by extension, anything within that framework is outdated, and it seemed like he completely ignored it. Now, he had good words to say about the fact that Royal Caribbean was moving forward in sailing in different cities around the world, and they're going to move forward, encouraging people to continue to observe the safety protocols and to start, in actual fact, buying cruises. So it's interesting that he ignored everything the CDC said and yet seems to be pushing ahead, which makes me a little bit suspicious about what's going on. Did the CDC release Phase 2A just to get people off their backs while they're working on something bigger in concert with the cruise lines? If you look at the Phase 2A in the Framework for Conditional Sail Order, you would notice something about the vaccine statements there. The CDC, as part of Phase 2A of the Framework for Conditional Sailing, said this relative to vaccines. They encouraged cruise lines to get their crew and passengers vaccinated. But if you read further on, they have this big portion of the Phase 2A talking specifically about vaccines. They want the cruise lines to set up a location, a center where crew and port workers will be vaccinated. They want seminars to be held to educate people and encourage people to get vaccinated. They want cruise lines to appoint vaccination coordinators. Why would you want a vaccination coordinator except, of course, you want someone who is in charge of handling vaccinations for crew members, for port workers, and maybe to also ensure that passengers coming in are vaccinated. Look, in my opinion, what's going to happen is this eventually. CDC is playing games, the cruise lines are playing games. Both parties know something that we, the general public, do not know. But one thing I know for sure, the CDC is trying to push cruise lines to begin sailing like they are doing in other locations, which is to mandate vaccination for all crew and guests that would come on the cruise line. That, I think, is where all this is headed. Look, if you think about it carefully, our only way out of this pandemic, or our only way back to cruising again, is if everybody is vaccinated, at least if all guests are vaccinated. And I think it's going to be this way, at least for the short run, that for all those who want to cruise this year have to be fully vaccinated. I think that's where all this is heading. Look, let's look at the CDC for a second. The CDC has one job, only one job, and that is to prevent death. So the CDC will not make a decision that might, in any way, shape, or form, cause the death of one person in the US. So whatever decisions they make, they're going to be either cryptic about it, they're going to be skittish about making any hard decision. Instead, they're going to put that decision on the cruise line. And the guidance they will give to the cruise line is simple. Have all guests and crew coming on board vaccinated. That is it. I don't think they're going to move away from that. Otherwise, they're going to go through this charade that they are doing, this framework for conditional sail order. They're going to go through this till November 1 or perhaps till July, when the Health and Human Services Secretary will remove the health emergency mandate in the country and remove that emergency declaration. So that might be what the CDC is waiting for, because once that happens, the CDC will say, well, it's no longer my call. It is now the call of Health and Human Services. And that removes the framework for conditional sail order. But I think for cruise lines to actually want to begin cruising immediately, they need to take a proposal to the CDC and ask, what if all our passengers are vaccinated? If they make that proposal to the CDC, then the CDC will probably give them a quicker approval than all this nonsense that we're seeing with the framework for conditional sail order, which is outdated and quite frankly does not make a lot of sense. So I believe cruise lines are now really going to start working on how they can get their crew vaccinated, because I think most cruise lines, before they will be allowed to sail at all the crew will have to be vaccinated. Now, how do you deal with children versus adults who have not been vaccinated? Well, the good news is this. Pfizer, BioNTech have come out now to say that their vaccine works well amongst children from, I believe, 15 to 12 years old, and they have no adverse reactions. So they're going to put in for a modification for the emergency use authorization that they initially have to now include a new age bracket. So very soon we may see children 16 years and under till about maybe 12 or maybe 8, I'll have to check on that, will now be able to be vaccinated. So that increases the amount of people who can actually get on board when such a mandate comes down to the pike to the cruise lines. Now, I believe that's what's going to happen. But right now, what I just see is that the CDC and the cruise lines are either in cahoots and they have something working or something in the works, or they're playing a cat and mouse game in which the CDC wants the cruise lines to call the vaccine mandate, and the cruise lines expect the CDC to call a vaccine mandate. But the CDC is not going to do that, because the cruise lines are private and technically foreign entities, and they can create or call for whatever mandate they want on their ships. I hope this has been helpful. I hope this has been clear. If you like this, please, I want to invite you to subscribe and like this channel. And as I have more information, You'll get to know it if you hit that notification button. And so also tell me what you feel about what I've just said today. What are your thoughts? Do you think we're headed towards a mandate for vaccinations before cruising can occur? And if that happens, how soon do you think we'll get back to cruising? Again, don't forget to subscribe, like, and hit the notification bell. And I'll see you next time.